Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to those of you who are here live in the plenary hall of the Peach Convention Center in Pattaya City in Thailand, and those of you who attend the meeting virtually. I am Dr. Anopjai Samran. I'm professor in obstetric and gynecology of Chulalongkorn University. I'm representing the National Steering Committee Scientific Subcommittee of the ICFP 2022. And welcome to our Thailand session today. Can I have the introduction slide, please? So the title for our session will be FP in Thailand, what has been, what is, and what will be. As all of you may know, Thailand has a very successful family planning program over the last 50 years. And today, we're gonna have like 4 renowned speakers to share with you, what happened in this country in terms of family planning during the past year, present time, and what's going to happen in the future. I would introduce each speaker one by one and ask them to come up the stage to do their presentation for 15 minutes. After the 4 speakers have done, we're going to have like 15-20 minutes for discussion and question. So let me introduce to you the first speaker. The first speaker, he graduated from Faculty of Medicine Siriraj Hospital in Bangkok, Mahidol University, and master degree in public health from the Institute of Tropical Medicine in Belgium. And prior to his current position, he has served several positions in the medical field since 1988. And his last position before holding this position is the Director General of the Department of Disease Control of the Ministry of Public Health, and now he is the Director General of Department of Health of Ministry of Public Health. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Suvarnachai. Please.
Sawadee mean it just like the word in Thai. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished speaker and participant, good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to exchange the experience on the population policy in Thailand context with you today. Maybe I will start with an overview of the population and demography of Thailand. And at the present, Thailand has a population of approximately 66 million people. Also, Thailand has already become an aging society and will soon become an aged society. The total fertility rate has dropped below the replacement level to only 1.24. The current birth and death rates are not very different, which make the current population growth rate close to 0. Thailand's population policy may be divided into 3 periods. The first one was postnatalist period. Then there was the family planning period to reduce the population growth rate. Currently, we are in the challenging period where the population issues such as population size, population structure become more complicated. It is more challenging to set policy to deal with this situation. In the past, Thailand had the policy to increase the number of births. We established a marriage promotion organization and a marriage manual and the first midwifery school in 1939. This policy resulted in an increase in population from 14.5 million in 1937 to 26.3 million in 1960. The increased births in Thailand led to concern about the problem due to the fast population growth. Therefore, Thailand announced the first population policy in 1970. Under this policy, there was the Family Health Research Project, which later developed into National Family Planning Program. Thailand has been internationally recognized for the success of the National Family Planning Program. The contraception prevalence rate rose from 14% to 72% by the end of the 7th National Economic and Social Development Plan. The key to success of the National Family Planning Program, Thailand has faced new challenges, including a dramatic decrease in the total fertility rate, teenage pregnancy. Yes. The key to success include a clear population policy and the utilization of health personnel such as nurse, midwife, and pharmacists to provide birth control service to reach underserved groups such as rural residents, ethnic minority. Another key factor to success is a strong partnership with private, non-government organizations or NGO, and academic sector such as the Population and the Community Development Association, led by Mr. Michai Viravaithaya, who has strongly promoted the use of condom that he's given the nickname of Mr. Condom. After the success of the National Family Planning Program, Thailand has faced new challenges, including a dramatic decrease in the total fertility rate, teenage pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion, and gender diversity. Nowadays, Thailand is one of the countries with the lowest total fertility rate. Information from the World Population Prospect 2022 show that in 2021, there were only 20 countries with a lower total fertility rate than Thailand. The low total fertility rate leads to a decrease in births until the number of births is now close to the number of deaths. Soon, the number of births in Thailand each year will be less than the number of deaths, and the population will gradually decrease. In addition to the gradual population decrease, Thailand's population structure will also change. The number of children and working age will decrease, while the number of elderly people will increase. In the next 40 years, the number of elderly in Thailand is expected to increase by 12 million, while the number of working age will decrease by 15 million, which will greatly affect the country's economy, society, and finance. To prepare for the change, Thailand has issued important laws and policies, including the National Reproductive Health Development Policy and Strategy, the Prevention and Solution of the Adolescent Pregnancy Problem Act, and the amendment of the Criminal Code on abortion. The current National Reproductive Health Development Policy and Strategy is the second edition. It aims to promote voluntary birth, ensure that every birth is well prepared, and promote healthy newborns and quality growth so that they have the capacity to develop the country in the future. The Prevention and Solution of the Adolescent Pregnancy Problem Act may be considered the first promotion and preventive act in Thailand. The act focuses on integrating collaboration among relevant organizations. The key mechanism is the Prevention and Solution of the Adolescent Pregnancy Problem Committee, which has roles and responsibility in issuing policy, rules, and regulation, and monitoring the implementation to ensure that they follow the act. The implementation is considered successful as the adolescent birth rate in Thailand had decreased by half within 10 years. We set a new target that aims to decrease the birth rate among adolescents aged 15 to 19 to no more than 15 per 1,000 population by 2027. Recently, Thailand amended the criminal code related to abortion for the first time in 60 years. It has been enforced since 2021. The amended code makes Thailand one of the most progressive countries in terms of law and eliminates legal barriers to abortion services. However, there needs to be an improvement in understanding and attitude toward abortion from society and especially from service providers. From the complexity of the problem, the urgent issue that Thailand prioritizes are promoting quality birth and supportive infertility treatment. It is now considered a disease and included in the Universal Health Coverage Benefit Package. We focus on the economic and fiscal preparedness to cope with the impact of changes in population structure. Moreover, we see the importance of rights and gender diversity. Currently, there is a drafting of the Equal Marriage Act. This will be an important milestone in Thailand's action on gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an overview of population policy in Thailand. I would like to thank the organizer and all distinguished participants for giving me the opportunity to exchange Thailand experience today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suvarnachai Watanayingcharanchai, the Director General of the Department of Health, Ministry of Public Health, for sharing with us the evolution of family planning in Thailand, the land of smiles. Could you please have a seat? And may I move to the next speaker, who will be speaking on the integration of family planning into the country's health system. Our second speaker, he received the Doctor of Medicine from Chiang Mai University in the northern of Thailand and have been trained in obstetric and gynecology from the same institution and received his PhD in clinical epidemiology from Ramathipati Hospital, Mahidol University in Thailand. He has been working in the field of obstetric and gynecology during the past years and also in women's health until taking the present position. His present position is the Director of the Bureau of Reproductive Health, Department of Health, Ministry of Public Health in the Kingdom of Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Bunyarit Sukarat. Please.
Okay, firstly, I would like to thank you, Ajahn Anop, for your kind introduction and good morning, speaker and participant. My presentation should be a little bit deep into detail after my DG, Dr. Suvarnachai, has overviewed our population policy and the overall situation. So, as you hear from the previous presentation, the Prevention and Solution of the Adolescent Pregnancy Problem Act. So in my presentation, I will shorten it into the Adolescent Pregnancy Act after that. This is the first act in Thailand that we can say the Prevention Act. When we think about law, we must think about the punishment, the law enforcement, something like that. But it is not kind of this law for the Teenage Pregnancy Act in Thailand. Before we launch this act, the situation that lead into change in Thailand, you can see that the adolescent birth rate in Thailand in the past 20 years, it looks like we can go up the hill and down the hill in 20 years. The first 10 years between the year 2000 to 2010, we have continuingly increased for the adolescent pregnancy rate. You can see that we rise from the about 30 per 1,000 to the peak at about 53 per 1,000 in about 10 years. That only twofold of increasing. But after that, after we implement the Teen Pregnancy Act, our adolescent pregnancy is declined from the peak at the 54 to only 28 per 1,000 nowadays. And hopefully in this year, the latest official statistic of Thailand, it should be below the 25. That is our target in the first national strategy. And also in the young teenager in the 10 to 15-year-old in Thailand, you can see that from the 2000 to about 2010, our adolescent birth rate in the 10 to 14 year rise from only 0.5 to 1.8 per 1,000. That is nearly fourfold rising in only 10 years. Even though that to have sex with the girl under 15 years in Thailand is illegal, but the fact from 2000 to 2010 show that in our country that should be something that not going into the right direction, and the implementation of the act also decreased the trend of the adolescent birth rate in the 10 to 14 to sharply decreased from the day. The main actor in the Teen Pregnancy Act in Thailand, because the problem of adolescent pregnancy is a complicated issue that involves not only the health sector. To tackle with this problem, we need cooperation from nearly all sectors, all parts of our society. In this act, the main actor is include the 6 main ministers, the Ministry of Public Health, the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Interior, and the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Education. The main objective of this act is to protect and provide the right of the adolescent. In this act, we state that the teenager have the right, and the related organization should be provide them for the right they have. The main right stated in this act is the right to make informed decision the right to have access to education and information, the right to receive reproductive health services, the right to receive social welfare services, the right to be treated equally and without discrimination, the right to enjoy confidentiality and privacy. And the key mechanism under the Act is about we have the Adolescent Pregnancy Committee. You may wonder that how effective does the committee should be, because every time Thailand have the policy, we also have the committee. But in this complicated issue that we need the cooperation of many ministers, the national committee is vital, because we need the center command that can command all the ministers to go in the same direction. I will give some short exception that many years before we have the Act, one day the Minister of Public Health said that we wish to launch the condom machine in school to help teenagers can access to condom easily. The day after, the Minister of Education said that we don't allow, it will pursue the teenager to have sex. That is the example of before the Act, the direction of the policy implementation in Thailand may be going into the same direction. So when we have the national committee, we can have center command. If we have any conflict in the concept, we can talk in the committee. And after that, when we implement that, we should be to have the implementation plan, the implementation project. The other act of the committee is they have the right to issue the law and regulation related to the teenager. One of the, I think the most successful of the law enforcement of this committee is the regulation of the Minister of Public Health issue under this act, that we issue that the teenager have the decision right to sign the informed consent to receive the reproductive health services, that remove the obstacle that before this act, the teenager who want to receive reproductive health services, they need the informed consent from their parents. And in reality, if we said that the teenager go to hospital and we say, come back to your home, bring your mom or your dad to sign before you receive services, they don't come back anymore. And this is one of the example of the law of the Adolescent Pregnancy Committee. And this is the detail about the actor of the each main minister. It is that so detailed that is it about the Minister of Education should be perform the sexuality education. The Minister of Public Health should be perform the friendly services, something like that. And after we have the National Committee, we have a good policy. To implementation this policy into practice is also a vital role. The good policy is very important for succession of any national program, but the policy without implementation is just a dream. To make a dream come true, we will pay effort in many ways. There are many stakeholders that help us in implementation this program. The first one, I should be thank you to the WHO and the UNAIDS for the global standard for quality healthcare services for adolescents. This is a very good standard that we adopted to implement in our program. But sincerely say it is maybe too comprehensive for Thai. So we shorten some standard in this issue and adopt into our youth-friendly health services standard. And we have many versions. From the first version in the Friend Corner, it developed into the to be number one program, and also the youth-friendly health services until the latest edition in 2020. And the latest information from our implementation program more than 150,000 teenagers access to services in youth-friendly health services hospital in 2021. The other platform that we have many cooperate from many parts of our society is the teenager digital platform called Teen Cup. We will have many stakeholders here, such as the Organon, the UNFPA, and many experts that give us the direction to develop the app. In Thailand, in the past few years, we have many apps developed, especially in the government sector. But the problem of this app is that it a bit have a short half-life. That means that maybe we can develop that. After 1 year of we launched this project, nobody used this app, and it will be dead from the market. For develop the Teen Cup, the aim of our developer is we wish to develop the platform that may be sustainable, that may be the platform that the teenager want to use. And in the first year, we have the follower of about 50,000, and we have the main function into 6 main functions: to health assessment, to check the life, to contact the teenager, and we have the menstrual cycle record, and we have the hotline, and also we have the chatbot with P Khong Kwan, which is our chatbot model. Thank you. And I will skip to another issue that I think it is the main important role in our implementation program, and it is maybe the main theme of this conference about the universal health coverage. In 2014, we launched the repeated teen pregnancy prevention. The concept is very simple. We provide the free long-acting reversible contraception, the implant and the IUD to all adolescents under 20 years. And we pay for each healthcare facility that 800 baht per case for IUD and 3,000 baht per case for implant. It is a really simple national program, but I will show that why it is affect the result of teen pregnancy in our country so much. Before we go to detail, I just use a little bit of time to demonstrate the short concept of Thailand Universal Health Coverage. In Thailand Universal Health Coverage, we have the National Health Security Office as and the payer, and we have the provider that most of them are the government hospital, and we have the population. It is very simple. The aim of our universal health coverage is to reduce the financial risk protection, the service coverage, and the population coverage. The point that I would like to emphasize for today's presentation is about the budget allocation. In the universal health coverage in Thailand, most of the budget is paid for the capitation that will be, we give a budget per head. The family planning services, at first, they are still in the capitation of the service. The result that when it in the capitation, the hospital and the health service provider do not happy to provide the services that they think the unit cost is so high, just like the IUD and the implant. And the family planning and contraceptive in Thai hospital mostly are only the pill, the condom, and the injectable, that it may be a little bit cheaper when compared for the unit price. Our repeated teen pregnancy prevention, it changed the payment mechanism from the capitation into the what the National Health Security Office call the fee schedule. That the fee schedule is about the budget payment, the bundle payment that we pay for each services case by case. The result is dramatic. You can see that in 2010, before we launched this program, In Thailand, only 36% of hospitals in Thailand have provided long-acting reversible contraception. And after that, in 2015, the percentage is rising about twofold to over 60%. And in the community hospital, the percentage of increase from only 30% into the nearly 70%. The number of the LAC services report from the National Health Security Office in the first year when we launched in 2014, the number is about 5,000, and it increased to 10,000 and 20,000, 35,000, and we at peak at the 44,000 in 2019. The multiple indicator cluster survey showed that the dramatic change from the access to the implant, especially in the adolescent group. You can see that in the mixed 4 in 2012, the prevalent rate of the implant is only 0.7 in the overall population and only 0.3 in the teenager group. After we launched the program, the Mix 6 showed that the percentage in the teenager group rise from 0.3 into 14.1 into 2 cycles of the Mix survey. And also the other finding from the Mix survey show that in the teenager that used what we call the traditional method, what also decreased from the 4.9 into the 1.4. And the number and percentage of repeated birth is lower to the only 8%. So in the final thought, after we success in the Repeated Teen Pregnancy Act, in the later year, this fiscal year, the National Health Security Office had the additional beneficial package that not only the long-acting reversible option and not only for the teenager, for all Thai women at the reproductive age, they can receive the reproductive health services in the free schedule for all age group, all kind of contraceptive, include the long-acting reversible contraception, the temporary contraception for the pill, the DMPA emergency pill, and also the condom, and also the unsafe abortion prevention services. This is one of the reasons that why we can change our target that from 25 per 1,000 to only 15 per 1,000 in our new strategy. So this is or I would like to demonstrate the implementation program in Thailand to tackle with the adolescent pregnancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bunyarit, for sharing with us how Thailand has implemented and integrated family planning, particularly for adolescents, into the country's health system. And now we have been very proud, to have the third speaker. Our third speaker will be sharing with us the success acceleration through non-conventional strategies. That will be the one and only person who can speak, on this topic in this country, in Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I need to introduce our next speaker much, since if you were here last night, he has awarded the Global Humanitarian Award. He is the founder and chair of the Population and Community Development Association, or PDA. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Michai Weerawaitaya, please.
Good morning, everyone. Let me go on to the other side. We have a very understanding Ministry of Public Health in Thailand, which has encouraged and assisted the non-government organization to play a major role, and even the commercial sector. And I think it's probably the best ministry of all in terms of cooperation with the public sector. And so I would like to tell you that the journeys that I have taken with the support of the Ministry of Public Health and with other ministries too, I call it these, the last 49 years, the 5 journeys to change attitudes and behavior to improve the quality of life in Thailand. Family planning was the beginning, and then it went on to everything else. The guiding principle, very simple. First one, take no as a question. Be innovative, think outside the box and outside the fence if possible. Empower your target audience, let them help you achieve your objectives. And then finally, ensure sustainability. These are the guiding principles of our work for the last 48 years. Of the 5 journeys, let me go to tell you. The first one was to reduce births in family planning. Second was to reduce poverty, because one also needs to do on the economic side. And then to reduce deaths, that's the HIV work. And then to reduce ignorance by establishing a new type of school, a new education system. And so the first journey, reducing birth, you've heard this before, that in 1970 we had about 7 children per family, and that was not sustainable. It meant it would double every 25 years. And so what we did was that we went to check with Buddhism, because in the Philippines, you had the Catholic Church very strongly against it, and we did not know what Buddhism would say about it. So we asked the monks, and the monks didn't know. So we got researchers in the university to find out what the Buddhist scriptures said about family planning. And as we found out that Buddhism supported family planning very strongly. And you can see that as a prayer fan that's given to all the temples in Thailand back 48 years ago, with the quotation from the Buddhist scriptures. And it says that Tukha Tati Punapunang. And in some temples where foreigners go, we also printed in English, many births cause suffering. So in other words, it does not harm, or it is opposed to family planning at all. So that was interesting, so that everyone in Thailand realized that it's not against religion at all. And then what was interesting is that the villagers came up and said, look, when we have a new car, a new room, we get a monk to bless it. Can you please get the monks to bless contraceptives with holy water? I said, well, I didn't know anything about that. So I went to see a temple, abbot in the temple in Bangkok, and asked him, would he be interested in helping? He said, yes, I'll do it. So he came to our office, and there I'm holding the bowl of holy water, and he's about to sprinkle holy water on pills and condoms to the sanctity of the family. What happened after that was that this picture was sent around, and many temples in the villages did the same thing. And the other one, we need to promote, not just to have a service, we need to promote it. And the best one was to use the teachers. So we trained 320,000 rural school teachers during the summer holidays, and to get them to understand how to use the key issues in education, in arithmetic, and then of course to say that the condom is clean if your mind is not dirty. So we had teachers condom blowing championship. So when the teachers can do that, their attitude is very good, and they'll talk to the parents as well. But we also went to the schools, and they had relay races with condoms in the schools, and many ones, and including condom blowing competitions. And now in Thailand, in the beginning, we had a doctor to prescribe the pill based on the regulation, but that we had one doctor for 110,000 people. It was not possible to do everything. So then the Ministry of Health came up with, next one was to introduce nurses to do the job. That went very, very well with a checklist. And then it came down to the housewives, the midwives. But all of that combined covered only 20% of all the villages. And so that we needed to think, what do we do with the other 80%? So that's when we proposed a program. So we pioneered the community-based contraceptive distribution, by training village keepers to supply contraceptives in cooperation with the Ministry of Public Health. It was done at the local hospital, many of the training. And so here is a village family planning volunteer. They were selected by the villagers themselves, and nearly everyone selected were shopkeepers. And here she is selling Coca-Cola as well as the pills and condoms. And then eventually, the whole country was covered by the expansion by the Ministry of Public Health. So that it worked together very well. And so here's another example. It's a dressmaker, a hairdresser. She also supplies the pills. And so she says to anyone who takes the pill from me, I give you a 10% discount on the hairdo. So again, they're coming in. And also at the floating market, you're selling food and crabs. You're also selling contraceptives. Wherever there were people, there were distributors around to provide. And so that this was the first time that a country had launched a community-based contraceptive distribution in the rural areas. And again, it was later adopted by the government and in its national network of health volunteers. And in fact, the people who have been responsible for helping to have some prevention during the COVID-19 was the village health volunteers under the Ministry of Public Health. But it all began in the early days with the private sector in cooperation with the Ministry of Health. And so a number of children came down from 7 to 1.5, growth rate from 3.3 down to 0.4. You've seen all that before. And the next one was to help the poor out of poverty. It's not enough just to have family planning. They wanted to do more. So we started having a program in the villages. Women wanted more, and so we said, let's begin to see what we can do with economic empowerment. So we partnered the villages with companies, because companies know how to make money, the governments only know how to take money. So here the companies are joining in to help, using their own funding. So the basic principle was to empower the community and to turn the poor into entrepreneurs by providing business skills and access to credit. Done as in the beginning, it was a family planning microcredit. Only those who practice family planning were allowed to borrow because we didn't have enough money. But then went on to elderly and then to other women. And this was all in partnership with companies. You can see the Ministry of Health and government departments, also companies have joined in. So that this was it, to enable the poor to earn more income and to pay for some basic necessities of themselves, not to provide everything free. So we did not use a handout approach, as it does not foster new skills, it does not empower, and it creates greater dependence. We've moved away from that. So we helped to establish a village bank, a microcredit loan fund run by half men and half women, and you can make a deposit in 3% if you borrow 1% per month. And so they decide what to do. The elected committee also take a look at how to operate the credit and what they want to do. 50% of the profits go back to the fund, and the other 50% are decided by the villagers to use for health, for education, or for elderly care. No individual receive any benefit. And so here's an example of making flowers out of fish scale down the south. Again, this part of the loan fund that they borrowed for. Also for crab, because a lot of these people were exploited by the merchants who would come to buy at the end of the day and give them a very low price. But then we worked with them to enable them to have their own freezer, so they didn't depend on the business community. This is mushrooms, also the same thing. Help with the marketing and the training and the loan fund. And raising of pigs and other animals, but everyone needed to have training before. So this was a training of pig raising when we asked the best pig raiser to help to be the teacher. And then you can borrow money for many, many things, including the flowers. And then this village earned a lot of money, so they said, let's do something in business. So they decided to go into a water bottling plant. The quality was good. They passed the FDA. And so that here is a water bottling plant owned by a village. In the photos, a woman, the village head of the village who is a woman, and she helped to push this. But the next thing that happened was that he did not expect. All of a sudden, a new business began. Women selling door-to-door water. So these become water sellers. We did not expect this to happen, but it's amazing when you put many things into the hands of the people, they will come up with very, very good ideas. I'm sure the Ministry of Health has received many, many good suggestions from the villagers. So that this has empowered the villagers to help themselves and to eradicate poverty in 2,100 communities. It all began with family planning, and then it went on to other things. This was to reduce deaths. Briefly, HIV was hit Thailand in the 1980s. Government reaction at the time was denial. It was not the Ministry of Health, but this is the ministry, the Office of the Prime Minister in charge of broadcasting. I asked them to put on spots on radio, television, and they said, no, it would ruin tourism. Of course, that was not true. So I went above that to the Commander-in-Chief of the Army, asked him to help use military radio and television, and started going. And then later on, we had a new Prime Minister, Kunanan Panyarachun, and he became the chairman of the National AIDS Committee. I said, AIDS is total war, not just one ministry, must be every ministry. And the chairman is the Prime Minister. I was part of this cabinet. I was in charge of doing broadcasting, tourism, and to help on the HIV side, on the promotion education side, together with the Minister of Public Health. And so there was a 50-fold increase in government budget to fight HIV. Before it was a bit small, and then it increased. Every ministry was given some to prevent, because we had no cure, only prevention. And here is broadcasting training for all the media people to give the right information to people, not to scare them. And then it was required to have a spot on AIDS education every 1 hour of broadcast for half a minute, and we gave them half a minute extra to earn extra income. And we also went to the companies and said, look, your sick staff cannot work, and dead customers don't buy. So you must be involved, not just the Ministry of Health, everyone. So the companies agreed to do that in cooperation with the government. And so we went then down to the university to say that we first began at the medical faculty of Konkan University to get the students to be trained and then to go back to the secondary school to help explain about HIV and safe sex. And then the ones who had been trained went and trained younger brothers and sisters in their school. Then eventually it got down to primary school children, and on one particular day, children were given a packet of condom and AIDS information, and they gave this out to every household in the kingdom. The whole system came together. We had a prime minister support it. And then AIDS information given out at every bus stop, top booths, and even in traffic. We have a policeman giving a condom we call a Cops and Rubbers program. And so what happened in AIDS? According to UNAIDS, there was a decline of 90% between 91 and 2002. And according to the World Bank, 7.7 million lives had been saved. And this was done by a team of so many people, not just government, not just Ministry of Health, but other ministries, the business community, the villages, the NGOs, everybody joined in. And this was their help. Imagine what would have happened if we did not do this. And the final one is to improve education. We brought up with the Bamboo School, a new form of education where the students help to run the school. It's the whole objective is, we call it a cheerful revolution. This will be very quick. So we want the school to be a lifelong learning center for all and for all members of the community, and the school act as a gateway for social and economic advancement in villages surrounding the school. The school is a major force, and I would like to see this happen in the rest of the world. So we want life skills and occupational skills in addition to the academic skills. And this is inside the geodesic dome of the Bamboo School, made of bamboo, and the colorful in the street, in the walkways of the school. Why can't we make schools more colorful? If we use it, the curbside as a dictionary. And so here is growing of vegetables in very bad soil. We have to design vegetables for poor soil, not for good soil. The poor people don't have good soil. So this is a cement ring, and then we use little water, little land, little labor. And he's using old car tires as well. And so that the students help to run the school. There's a student government, there's this cabinet meeting. Everything that happens in the school, the students must be involved. And so they're shopping, they're in charge of food, buying of vehicles, helping to interview incoming students. They have to interview the teachers as well. And they also do not eat on a Saturday to learn about hunger. You cannot learn about hunger from a book. So you have to learn it from being hungry. So those are the things that the school has done, and a lot of vegetable growing, income generation, and making a bamboo hydroponic system. And so they're also growing melons, and then they have even grapes. And I think I would like to end there to say that a school can be so much. I hope that the Ministry of Health will work very closely with the school to go through the school to make it possible for everyone to be involved. And I think the school is a good place. It's got land, it's got buildings, it's got electricity, water, teachers, and the members of the community and students. And I think that this is what we would like to see happen. And I think that if we do this more in the country, we're now working with Cambodia to provide Cambodian schools on the Thai border with the same system whereby the school plays a major role in the villages, including trying to create income for food and income security for elderly people. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Nichai, for your wonderful presentation on your 5 journeys to improve the quality of life of Thai people. And I'll come to the last panelist for today. He will be speaking on the future demographic challenge for Thailand. Our speaker obtained his PhD in economics from the University of California, Davis in the US. And his research interests are related to 4 types of inevitable disruption, including demographic disruption that he will be speaking today. At the moment, he is the head of research unit in finance and sustainability in disruption era of the Sasin Graduate Institute of Business Administration of Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Piyachat Piromsawat, please.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, and it is my honor to give you discussions about the topic about future of demographic challenges of Thailand. Right. So first of all, I want to start by giving you a broad outline of the futures. In Thailand, we are going to face 2 major demographic challenges. The first one is rapid declines in fertilities. We have listened to previous speakers, and this is also the trend around the world that the fertility has declined significantly. The second topic that I will spend time discussing is about rapid population aging as well. The reason that we need to understand these issues is there are 3 things. First is we need to recognize the negative consequences of these issues, right? Why it will impact our society, our nations, and what we can do about it. The second thing, which will be something I want to focus my time more, is even though a lot of people think about these issues as challenges, maybe there might be a way to rethink and turning this into opportunities. And finally, of course, if we don't do anything, negative consequences can and likely going to be happened. So if we want to shape our future, what can we do? A little bit background of myself and why what I will discuss with you might be something unique. But by training, I'm an economist. And one of the fields that I'm also interested in is called behavioral economics. It's a field that brings some knowledge and idea about psychologies into decision making. I'm also a university professor in Chulalongkorn University in Sassin School of Management, which is a business school. So I teach and I'm doing research about technologies. So it turns out that me and my colleague, my team, including Professor Kua Wongbunsin, we combine, various disciplines, population economics, behavioral economics, and technology management into an idea that I want to share with all of you. A little bit brief recap on what has been going on in terms of, the two key issues, fertilities and population aging in Thailand. Something that I often, did with my students is I was ask them, in your parent generations, how many, brothers and sisters? And, typically they would say like 5, 6, or 7. And then in their generations, it's come down significantly to 2, right, or 3, in which nowadays it's very common for many people to have one or maybe have no children at all. So again, not only Thailand is actually facing a significant decline in fertilities, we are facing a rapid decline. Many other countries in the world might go through this period, in maybe 40 or 50 years, but we go through this period pretty quickly. If we look forward into the future, this is actually a projection from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation from University of Washington. This study published in the Lancet, and they make a fertility projection for lots of countries in the world. This one is for Thailand, and we can see right now we are about 1.3, maybe a little bit in some places 1.2. Looking forward into the future, actually, we can see that the projection of fertilities, across various scenarios, it's not likely going to increase significantly, right? From these studies, very interestingly, it said that, two key factors actually accounted for almost 80% of what explained the decline in fertilities. The first one is improvement in education, especially in terms of female education. And the second one is, of course, is contraception. These are the two key factors that has been reduced, affect, the reduction in fertilities worldwide. To give you some more broader perspectives of fertilities around the world, we can see, there are similar trends, but there are also some differences. On average, for the global level, the average total fertility rate is about 3. It might remain the same or it might come down. Some countries like South Korea, which actually facing a situation quite similar to like Thailand, is actually facing a very steep decline in fertilities. Some of the countries like Niger, for now, fertility is still relatively higher. And other countries like China, we have heard about China one-child policy in the past, in which right now it has abandoned and tried to increase fertilities. Moving on to populations and population aging. Again, population aging is an important issue that has been discussed significantly in Thailand. We can see that, right now we probably have about 70 million populations, but moving forward into the futures, it is projected that it will be decreased. I'll give you some perspectives. So in the year 2050, the number of working age populations in Thailand, so if we count people, that in their age, they are eligible to work, the number of working age populations by the year 2050 will be reduced by about 10 million. So compare that with about 70 million population in Thailand, that is a significant change. Again, in terms of population aging around the world, some countries might have similar experience like Thailand, but there are some other countries that the progress might be different and might be slower. For example, like the US, they are facing population aging, but they face that in a much lower rates. Countries in Europe and China, will, of course, will face quite a rapid population aging. Southeast Asia, in general, will actually face a slower pace of population aging. So let me turn to, I think, another important thing to think about. I think we have been, heard and listened and talked a lot about the negative issues about fertility declines and population aging. But is there any way we can turn this into another direction? Can we turn these challenges into opportunities? What if having a large share of senior citizens can be an engine of economic growth and social development? This would be something that I want to share with you. First, I need to talk a little bit about something called demographic dividend and give you a very quick outline and very quick recap. There are three types of demographic dividend. First, there's the first demographic dividend. The first demographic dividend highlights the importance of having large labor market. And that could be a window of opportunity that any countries with the right structure could achieve. The second demographic dividend focusing on the wealth accumulation. So as people grow old and live longer, they will need to save for retirement. So this will incentive people to save more, and this could be, another important capital to the society. The third demographic dividend is actually a very new concept. It hasn't been discussed much, but it is an idea, or maybe I can say it's a belief, that if we could actually have a healthy and aging population, maybe this could be an important source for economic development. Why having large and healthy senior citizens could be an important source or important power of our countries? Let me give you three ideas. First, and again, this might be opposite to what many people believed. It might be opposite to a lot of people call this ageism. Actually, you think about it, senior people, senior worker, for some tasks and for some jobs, they can be significantly more productive. Especially jobs or tasks that, you gain experience more when you age, you do that better. In particularly, jobs that related to communication skills, people who, become older actually perform this significantly well. I give you a few examples. So a job like teacher, lawyer, managers, there are several studies that actually found that, people who become older will be significantly more productive. Well, this is actually also interesting. It might mean that, with this window of opportunities, we could have abundance of teachers. They could be someone who, improve the human capital of our countries, and this could be an important thing that we need to find a way to capture them. Second, well, we talk a lot about digital transformation. We talk a lot about emerging technologies. Actually, technologies can be a tool that can remove limitations of senior workers. Let me give you 4 examples. The first one, I'll call that physical augmentation. There are actually several technologies that can remove or enhance, physical ability of senior workers. One of the unique countries that actually very pioneer in this is Japan. Exoskeletons market in Japan and in the world, the suit that actually helps support our body, actually growing very fast. The second, and again, something that could be very close to us is the remote working. With COVID, now we are familiar with Zoom, so that can actually be a very useful technology that help senior people work anywhere, anytime in the world. You might have heard a lot about robots. There's another term that's called cobot, collaborative robots. It's a robot that actually put human at the center. So not a robot that designed to replace people. The second group of technologies, I call it cognitive augmentation. So of course, even though when people age, their memories or computation speed might be slower, but actually there are technology that can be included into our phone, our computer, or maybe virtual glasses that can help us remember things, can help us, make decisions significantly quicker. The third example of technology is that senior people might need to reskill. So we have digital online platform, MOOC, and various good courses online that can actually help senior people reskill anytime, anywhere. And fourth, and it can be quite very important, is for senior workers who want to work, they need to be able to find that. So job matching platform can be another important platform from digital technology that can help improve this. Last but not least, in terms of ideas, why senior worker can be a very useful source for economic development and social development is this could be a time in our society that we can have abundance of volunteers. So, senior workers have experience, senior citizens have experience, and this also gives them purpose in their life. Maybe we could have abundance of volunteers that they can help in terms of environmental issues, they can be environmental activists, they can be vocational, volunteer and training schools in people in rural village. They can help run a food drive. Again, this could be a window of opportunity that we can have abundance of volunteers to help social issues. More importantly, I want to add this. Actually, there are plenty of scientific evidence that one of the key reasons senior citizens become, sick more is because they become inactive. So when they have purpose, they are engaged with economic activity or social activities, they are more likely to be in a better physical health and their mental health. So to me, if you're thinking about, what I have been discussed in terms of all these programs, it's not cost, it's not expense, it's actually an investment. It could be an investment that could prevent many senior people who might become sick much more in the future. But then, how can we shape the future? Again, everything that I have said might not happen if we don't have a suitable structure to our society. With this, I would like to encourage three kinds of innovation that we need to re-engineer. The first, I want to call it technological innovation. For technological innovation, we need the right kinds of technologies. So, for example, technology that replace worker, technology that not empower senior worker. That's something that we need, but we also need the other kinds of technologies. The technology that put senior worker at the center and help them, be productive as much as possible. Again, you might have heard about something called age tech or even fertility tech. I give you one idea about fertility tech. So if you think about it, one of the key reasons many people delay to having babies is they want to be successful in work, right? Or they need to start working first. But again, now the technology of remote work, using Zoom, working anywhere. So if that can be something that become widely used, maybe a lot of people might decide that it's good to, now I actually can work from home. Maybe that will incentivize people to have more kids. The second kind is called social innovation. We can have plenty of technologies, but if people don't use it or the society or the structure of our society do not encourage these technologies to be used, then there will be no use. We need a social innovation that includes senior citizens into the economic activities and social activities. We need, a social innovation that also include, expecting parents so that they can be at the same time productive and they can be at the same time, a really good parent. Last but not least, I want to talk about one idea. It's called behavioral public policies innovation. And this might be an idea that might be unfamiliar to some of you, but I think it could be an idea that can, help turn the tide. We all need to change behavior. We need to change behavior by using law, using regulation, but sometimes not every kind of behavior we can do that. Sometimes we use financial incentive to incentivize people. But again, financial incentive can be expensive. If we want to incentivize everyone in the countries or everyone in the world, that could be very costly. Sometimes we believe that we give people information, giving them knowledge, that will be enough to change their behavior. But again, there are a lot of evidence that it's actually not, people do not know, but actually they do know, but they have been trapped in terms of cognitive biases, or there are other reasons that actually trap people from making the change they need. Nudge is actually an idea advocated by a Nobel laureate, Richard Thaler, that it's another way we can add to whatever we already have to change people's behavior. Nudge is actually any thing that can, any part of the decision-making environment that can actually change people's decision. Let me give you a few examples. One of the classic nudge is called default. The idea of default is that, if we give people, the first choice, most of us will likely to choose that. So for example, if we want to encourage people to be healthy, again, if we can give healthy choice to people first, the people are much more likely to select that. Another example is that, when we show people, for example, age progress rendering, again, sometimes people forget that, 10 years in the future, there will be senior, there will be elderly, they need to save. This will remind people that they need to prepare for the futures. And also for these policies, we also need experimentation mindset. Again, in order to change people's behavior in various contexts, it might not be something that we can just adopt what have been learned from in other countries. We need to find, the right combination for our own countries as well. So in the end, let me make the following conclusion. The demographic change that I have discussed, it could be a challenge if we don't do anything about it. But however, if we can make this window of opportunity become something valuable, we can actually make this window of opportunity works and count. We might be able to make this window of opportunity be the source and engine of economic growth and social development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Piyachat, for your interesting, presentation. Please be seated here. I think we have just like 4 or 5 minutes for discussion and questions. And thank you for those of you who attend, this symposium, this panel, I would say, on-site and online. If you may have any question, you can raise your hand and go to the microphone. But I was lucky. I just want to share with you that I was lucky. I was born before the family planning movement in Thailand. So I have escaped from condom provided by Kun Michai and oral contraceptive pills. So that's why I am here. And second, I was lucky also to enter senior. I'm 60 years old now, just to share with you. And thanks so much, Dr. Piyachat, for your proposal of having the senior people like me, to be very active in the rest of my life, I would say. So this panel, this session, we share with our audience the journey or the evolution of what have been in the past in our family planning, in the population policy. Dr. Suvarnachai has shared with us the population policy in our country from the past many years until now and in the future, what we have to do. And Dr. Bunyarit has also shared with us how to integrate the family planning into the country's health system, which is very important to make a success in family planning program. And not just only, I would say, conventional way, a government way of doing things. Kun Michai has shared with us the non-conventional ways or strategy to help accelerating the success of family planning and some other public health program in our country, Thailand. And last, Dr. Piyachat has shared with us the future, the challenge in the future that our society, our Thailand may face, and what we need to prepare, for this challenge. So I would ask our panelists just to give a brief conclusion of your talk, if you may have, for the audience.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and distinguished participants. In the national policy that we try to set the mechanism at the national level, we create the integration among related ministry, just like to sign the MOU or something like that. We try to set up or build the law, just like the new law or something like that. But at the provincial level, we build the mechanism to set the integrated plan. But for action, we set up at the district level, just like move beyond health to the quality of life. And in Thailand, we have the more than 1 million village health volunteer that try to communicate and provide understanding for the people. That is a strong point in Thailand, and resulted in the success in family planning to move to just like to level it or to live the quality of life. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Bunyarit.
Thank you, Ajahn Anop. I think the population issue nowadays is very complicated, and to go in the future, we need both the cooperation in our part of our society and also the lesson learned from the international community that we would like to share and go further with our country and also another country that we will work with. Thanks.
Thank you. Ajahn Michai, have any?
I have two very simple points. The first one is I'd like to emphasize that we have schools all over the world. We can use the schools as a platform to create all the good things, the changes that are required in the Sustainable Development Goal by the UN. That's the first one, to use the schools, and the children learn all about it at the school. And the second one is that we can tackle the elderly problem by turning them into future business people by using the budget that's available in the Ministry of Education of 23 billion baht to buy food by buying some from the elderly. So the elderly will return into the productive line and will not be regarded as a burden. So they are still productive units up till almost to the level of 80. It's very light work, very good money, and we could even get people who have migrated to the city to try and come back. So those are things we have, are challenges we have to do. We need the private sector to be involved, and we need the government to work together on this. So I think there's thing when once you reach a situation like Thailand, you now have to work on getting the elderly people to be young again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Piyachat.
Yes, so my main discussion that I have been presented is actually about how we can rethink about population aging in particular, how we can turn it from challenges into opportunities. Maybe I want to share with you one quote from a business guru, from Peter Drucker. And he said this: the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence itself. It is to act with yesterday logic. So again, we are facing an unprecedented change. So we need new ideas and we need new approach. Thank you.
Thank you. So we ran out of time. Thank you so much, for your participation, for the audience here, and our 4 panelists on the stage. Please give a big applause. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the meeting.